Greetings, greetings, bonjour, ujjayi. Welcome to my channel and welcome back to my channel if this is your return visit. My name is Tameka Gray and today I want to share with you a yin yoga practice. In this yin yoga practice, we will be focusing on a gentle way to detoxify through the intestines. Yes. You may want to grab some props. You may not need them, but just have them handy. I would suggest grabbing a big bolster, maybe 2 blankets, a couple of blocks, and if you have a small bolster, maybe grab that as well. If you have substitutes, such as maybe a small pot to replace your block, or just some extra blankets that you have in the closet or on the bed, or maybe you grab some pillows off of the sofa or off of the bed. So if you don't have those props with you, go ahead and grab them and then we'll get started. All right, let's come onto the mat as we head into this detoxifying yin practice. Remember to have some water nearby also, especially after a yin yoga practice. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Coming into our first pose, which is the toe squat. Knees on the mat, toes behind us. We're going to curl the toes under. If that pinky toe wants to not join the party, just go ahead and take your finger and put the pinky toe in the same direction as the other toes. We sit the hips back. And from here, you can take some slow breaths, right? Just go as slow as possible. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth or the nose. Beautiful. If you need to come out of the toe squat, you can go ahead and do that. Just place your fingertips or hands on the mat and uncurl the toes. Maybe tap the feet against the mat. If you'd like, you can come back into the toe squat or just relax. We'll be here for just a few more seconds. In yin yoga, it's good to keep the body cool. That was the original purpose, right? So we'll do that by exhaling through the mouth. If you didn't know whether to choose to exhale through the nose or the mouth, you can keep the body sort of in a cooler state by exhaling through the mouth. One more slow breath here. Wonderful. Go ahead, lean forward, place your hands on the mat, uncurl the toes. Maybe lightly tap them against the mat as we head into our next pose, which is pigeon or swan, according to yin. So we'll do that by reaching the hands forward towards the top of the mat, maybe leave a little space there. Bring the right knee towards the right wrist, and then swing the right ankle over towards the left wrist. It may not connect with the left wrist. You just want to swing it towards the left wrist. Then inch back the left leg. Come to find your edge. Find that place where it's just a little uncomfortable, but not painful. In yin yoga, when you experience pain, we want to actually back away from the pose. So find your edge. We'll be here for just a few moments. Maybe make any micro adjustments and find your stillness. If you like, you can come onto the forearms, or maybe even bring the forehead to the mat. Breathe slowly when you remember. Wonderful. We'll gently push ourselves back up. If you went to the forearms, if you went to bring the forehead all the way down to the mat. We'll sit the right hip back onto the mat and gently swing the left foot around to the front. We'll recline back for a moment and do some windshield wipers. So I'm going to grab the small bolster, maybe you grab a blanket if the bolster is not available. And we'll bring the feet to the width of the mat. Just swing the legs from side to side, or the knees, in our windshield wiper. Awesome. We'll hold here for one moment. On your next inhale, lift the knees and allow them to fall to the other side. Beautiful. Bring the feet, the soles of the feet to connect with the mat. Gently pull yourself back up. And we'll head into our Pigeon Pose or Swan Pose on the other side. Just move the bolster or the blanket behind you. Coming back to hands and knees on the mat. Bring the left knee this time towards the left wrist. And then swing the left ankle towards the right wrist. Again, it may not connect, and that's perfectly fine. I have a few inches here. Got about 4 inches between my right wrist and my left ankle. All right, and then we'll slide the right foot back, finding the edge. Because maybe even your swan looks more like this, right? With the left leg heading back. That's all right. Find what feels good for you today in this detoxifying yin practice. And we'll settle in, finding your edge, connecting with your breath for a few moments. Come down to the forearms if you like. Or bring the forehead only down to the mat, if you like. Just an option. We'll gently start to come out of the Swan Pose. If you went down, go ahead and gently push yourself up. If you're already up, go ahead and swing the left hip down to the mat. Gently bring the right leg towards the front. Bolster or blanket behind you for windshield wiper. Feet to the width of the mat. Allow the knees to fall to the right and then to the left. And just notice any sensations that you feel. We will hold here with the knees falling towards the left. Wonderful. When you're ready, you can inhale and lift your knees back to center and then allow them to fall towards the right, and we'll hold there. And take some slow breaths. Good. One more slow breath here. And then as you're ready, bring your knees back up, soles of the feet kissing the earth. Gently pull yourself back up to a seated position, and we'll head into our next pose, which is Child's Pose. Removing the bolster or blanket. Bring the legs behind us, coming into a tabletop. We'll bring the knees to the width of the mat. Big toes touching in the back. We'll send the hips back towards the feet. And gently walk the hands forward, bringing the forehead to the mat. So this is where you may want to put a blanket between your forehead and the earth, or maybe not, maybe a block. Find your edge in this child's pose, and we'll be here for a few moments. Connect with your breath and breathe slowly. Awesome. Gently come back into our tabletop position. Bring the hands by your face and gently push yourself back up. Bringing the knees in, we'll curl the toes and guide the knees back in towards our tabletop. Heading into Dragon Pose. We'll bring the right foot forward, reaching the left leg back. Bring the right hand on the inside of the right foot and heel toe the right foot to the edge of the mat. You can place maybe a blanket under your left knee if you feel like that is what you need today. Absolutely. We can stay here on the hands, or we can come onto the forearms. And maybe you come onto the forearms and put a block under the forearm. Find the edge. Notice if the shoulders are heading towards the ears and how you may be able to pull them back gently. Settling in, making any micro adjustments that you may need to. Foot is flat on the mat. Maybe you bring your right foot, you bring the edge of the right foot to the mat. Slow breaths. More seconds here. And take one more slow breath. Good. If you went down to the forearms, gently press your hands down into the mat as you ease yourself back up. We're going to come back into our child's pose. So swing the right leg behind you. Find your tabletop position, maybe for a moment, and then come to our child's pose. Knees to the width of the mat. Big toes touching in the back. We send the hips back towards the heels and walk the hands forward, finding your edge in Balasana. Wonderful. We'll gently come out of our child's pose. Bring your right hand to the right side of the face, left hand to the left side of the face. Gently push yourself back up. We'll find our tabletop position. And moving into our dragon pose on the left. We bring the left foot to the top of the mat or towards the top of the mat, to the edge of the mat as well. Sliding the right leg back. Making any adjustments that we need. Maybe we put a blanket under the knee. Maybe we grab a block for the hands or the forearms. Find what you need, take what you need, and settle in. Find a stillness. Connect with your breath. Slow breaths as much as possible. Take another slow breath here. And gently start to come out of dragon's pose. If you went down on the forearms, gently bring the hands back to the mat. And we'll bring the left foot back to meet with the right. Coming back into tabletop position and to child's pose. Bringing the knees to the width of the mat, big toes touching in the back. We settle in. Notice any sensations that are coming up for you. An option here to come into extended child's pose by bringing the knees together, reaching the arms by your side so that the hands are by the feet, and allowing the forehead to come towards the earth. Relax through the arms. Maybe the forearms fall to the mat as your shoulders drape around the front of your body. Take a few more slow breaths here. And as you're ready, gently pull yourself up. If you were in child's pose with the hands in front of the body extended, bring them by your face, gently push yourself up. If you were in extended child's pose, just gently roll up. As we head into our next pose, which is our downward facing dog. So for this one, I'm going to grab this big bolster. Maybe you grab a big bolster, maybe you grab a block or two, or maybe a blanket. We'll press the hands into the mat as we're on our knees. Curl the toes under, just like we did in the beginning. Sending the knees and hips up towards the ceiling. Find your downward facing dog. And then you could use the bolster to support your head. And I'm wondering if this bolster is a little bit too high for me, so I'm going to change it out. I encourage you to try out your options and see which one works best for you before settling, right? No settling until we know it's what is right for us. So this feels a little better to me. I think I'm going to stick with that. So hopefully by now you found what works for you. If not, go ahead and give us a quick pause here. Find what works for you and come back to our practice. We'll be here for a few moments. Breathe slowly. Pressing the hands, all fingers down into the mat, towards the earth. Hug the navel in and in. Beautiful. Lift the heels up. Bring the knees back down to the mat. And we'll take our last child's pose for today. Again, you can keep the knees in close together or take the knees to the width of the mat. Sending the hips back. Maybe keep the bolster here. Bring it in. Use it for support or maybe get rid of it. Whatever you need. Find your child's pose, our last one for today, for this practice. Settle in. Awesome. And we'll gently push ourselves back up out of child's pose, heading into saddle. We have options here for our saddle. So you can keep the feet where they are, right? And lean back into the saddle. I like to use a bolster with the saddle. Maybe you separate the feet and come into that saddle that way. Perhaps you grab some blocks or your pots, right? Whatever that may be, and elevate the bolster. Put the tallest one in the back, or sit it up tall and then sit it sort of sideways as it's closer to the bottom of the bolster. Which I find for me feels really yummy. So that's what I am going to do for my saddle today. But again, find what works for you. Maybe you place a blanket under the knees. Once you've found what works for you, settle in and allow yourself to connect with your breath. Wonderful. We'll take one more slow breath here. Excellent. Gently pull yourself back up to an upright position. And we'll swing the legs around, bring the knees together, swing the legs around. Come to sit on the mat. You can remove the bolster as we head into our next pose, which will be a leg raise. A leg raise can be done against the wall as well. You would just, I'll demonstrate in case that is something that you would like to do. So you come to the wall, move water and Himalayan sea salts, moved so that we can make room for the legs. So you bring your bum, your hips up against the wall, laying sideways, and then bring your legs up to the wall. And make any adjustments here. Maybe you scoot the bum forward more, but here you could have your leg raise pose happening, with the support of the wall. So if that's something that you'd love to do today, be my guest. If you'd like to lay on the mat and just head the soles of the feet towards the earth, that's also a great option. Find what's good for you. Maybe even put a blanket under your sacrum, either whether your legs are against the wall or on the mat. That's also available. We'll be here for a few moments. Connect with your breath. Notice any sensations that come up for you. Awesome. Can take one more slow breath here. And if you decided to do this pose against the wall, maybe move away from the wall now. Or maybe if you want to stay against the wall because it feels so good, maybe find a butterfly pose, or maybe bring the knees together. But we're bringing the knees together and bending them in towards the chest. So you can definitely stay where you are if you're against the wall and do this. And we open up the arms to cactus arms. And then allow the knees to fall towards the right as we gently turn the head towards the left. A great way to detox the body is to incorporate some twists in your daily activities, especially through yoga. When you're ready, we'll lift the knees back in towards the chest, and then allow the knees to fall towards the left, and turn the head towards the right. Pulling the shoulder blades towards the mat. As you're ready, lift the knees back in towards the chest. Hug it in, hug the legs in. Maybe wrap your arms around the front or maybe behind the knees. Lift your chest towards your knees. Lift your chin towards your knees. Lift your nose towards your knees. And hug it in. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax your head back down to the mat. Bring your hands above your head. Extend the feet, the legs long. Let me stretch, bolsters. Reach in the arms away from the body. Reach the feet away from the body. Inhale here. And then relax. Relax, relax into our resting pose. Bring the arms by your side, palms face up, and allow the feet to do what they want to do. Relax, release, don't hold, release the holding. Stay here for as long as you like. Taking slow breaths. You are the light. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice today. Namaste.